listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Earlier we were discussing about integration maps. We saw some examples of mapping gender, how we map from Workday values to external data value that we see when we make the output and what we see in the integration output. If you look at our integration system, maybe we saw in the last one, in the system value. For if I look at the reference ID gender, gender code is female. But if you look at our integration, our gender code is coming out to be F. And the reason behind that is, if you look at the integration map, we have the internal value as female for gender, and the external value, we have requested it to be F. And this could be based or has a value of F or phi or whatever it may be based on the integration parameters that is required by your integration partner. It could be internal or external. Internal, external, like sexual. This male or female can be changed, like sometimes internal value could be male and external value could be female. You can do that. Like for example, you can put, say, ND not declared in male or female as both as well. It all depends on as to how you want to put it. If you want to switch, like if internal value is female and you want everything out to be put out as male, that is possible as well. It all depends on your specification as to how your benefit provider, in this case, your provider or receiver, is processing the information. For example, if I take example of a benefit and your benefit provider or your benefit provider, for example, it's for vehicle charging, for example. And you have an integration where you send all the data to your worker and they say that it doesn't make any difference for us, for it's like we don't gender discriminate. For everyone at send may or everyone send not declared. The internal, you have all the male, female, not declared values available and you want to send everybody a say no. Null and void. Null. You can send that value or nil or whatever that value may be. It all depends on your configuration specification as to what values you have in your system and what values you need to send. And there's a possibility that you don't. If you don't want to send gender at all, you can remove this from your integration field override. But you have the mapping option available, which comes in quite handy when you're developing your integrations. I hope that answers your question. Next, after integration maps, comes the transaction logs. That's a very critical area of integration as well. Provides a record of business process and events in Workday. Integrations can subscribe to specific transaction log events to capture changes to employee data that are relevant to an external system. Some connectors, including job posting location and competency, do not include a transaction log service, as the underlying Workday web service getLocation does not include it. If you need to have transaction logs enabled in your system, which as you can see that we don't have it. And if I look at the integration events, if I open it last, complete integration event. Let's keep everybody muted. Unless you would like to speak, then unmute yourself. But then you can keep yourself muted. Everybody is here, can focus on the session. You have this option for consolidated reports and logs, and when you click on this, you can retrieve the log files. And these 3 log files would include all the transaction logs for this particular integration. Now you have an option for a transaction log service as well. I go to Configure Integration Services. And you have the worker transaction log and the worker transaction log section service. Your core connector worker would provide you the transaction logs for the customers to what has changed as a log, including in your output. Let's enable this and read on this integration, and let's see the difference as to what we get. Let's see if we have to configure any. I think it's for that. And let's say, let's include everything for now. And let's read on this process that we ran earlier. We should even. And today 220, 2019. $59. Oh, last exception should be sorry. I mean, just put it for these 2 workers as well. I don't want a full file. I'm just looking for change files. Now, if I look at my output file, if I go to my parent event, I look at my output file now. I think we would require the full file to be run for this. Scrumbo file. Where is our log? We enable including output for transition log data service. 6 item and output. Full file integration. Let's say, unless there comes a full file not involved in, if it's rescinded or corrected. Let's try one thing. Let's do a correction on one of the activities that we did. There we go. It's a business process. I want to correct it recently. Correct. But let's go ahead and reset it. Integration system. Let's say integration. Even let's relaunch this. After the reason that we performed on Yuri, but that is today. We have to make sure as a family movement is current moment. This we can keep. The effective date can be towards the end of the month. Let's remove the for file flag. What is the title now? It's in syllabus. Status active position. Operation is known. And it says Manager IT Operation. Now they should have a transaction log here as well. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Check on the thing. The change it. Let's validate it. We're seeing that change. Which repulse. I do operation. And we can see that the status is Manager IT Operations. We seen the Senior Manager IT Operations. But where is our transition log? Now, it should not be here. It should be in the output. This recently is corrected. Check. We have the hire is ended and this goes to the next employee. I will check it out as to why the transaction logs are not showing on this tenant. I'll put a pin on this and come back to you on this in the next session as to why this is not showing, whereas it should include the transaction logs of what has changed in your integration. And it will show you in a log format. We have enabled it here. Include output. Try one more time. It's launching it as fresh. Let's see. It's effectively this 31st as of entry moment. Let's say current moment. Let's say is it a 1? And create. Again, this is a change file. I'm running it for the from 28 to today. Is there a way we can also do an inbound or only inbound is YIB? Of course, you can do an inbound call connector as well. It's not. I would say it was. It's not called inbound, but then your integration or it won't be a core connector. It would be. It would be a web service that would be coming into your system and connecting to your Workday platform via the web services, and then processing the request. Your inbound could be where you are collecting or fetching data from an external source. Like you're collecting a file, say from your Active Directory or from your payroll provider or somewhere else. And then you are running that integration. Does that make sense? Mapping, which is to be done because there's a third party service which is integrating with our website service to service. It is part of the course. We look at a web service. In here, I opened up the whole of March and let's see if we're getting any connection logs to this. We have this is not working. 447. I'll have a look at it. I'll have a go at it as to why this transaction log is not showing up whereas it should, in my opinion. For example, this is the first record is Ulibor's, which is the latest one. Active, I'll go add. We'll come back to the transaction log in the next session. I'll figure out how to do it, including in the output, whereas our integration system, we have configured it accordingly. Some worker transition log data section fields included. We have included it in our attributes as well, in our field overrides. It should be included. Only thing. This is probably the reason. This transaction log with full file only. If selected transaction log data will be used for full file extract. One more attempt and then otherwise we'll put it at rest and I'll check it out as to why it is not. coding for file. I'm not still seeing it. I'll come back to it again. I'm not sure why the transaction log is not pulling in, but I'll figure it out and revert back on it. Next part of our integration is document transformation. When the receiving system of your outbound integration requires a file format. Other than Workday XML, then you need to have a document transformation. Document transformation can be added to the design to transform the output into the format required. It is reasonably restricted to 3 or less transformation, as in 2 hours or less. Or document transformation was specially designed to work with connectors. Document transformation is needed when you need to translate this XML data into a different output, either format or calculations, or however you would like to put it. For example, let's take our integration. And let's say we need to transform some of the data. What we will need to do is we need to create an accessibility format based on our XML values. Let's come back here. This was for our 2 employees. I'll close the other ones. First, we need to get our XML. You can use an XMLiter if you have access to it. Or you can use a simple notepad to create your accessibility. Let's take our basic style sheet parameters. We will be using version 2 and version XCT. Basically, what we are concerned about is our workers' sync that we are going to use in our system. And say, for example, other data set that we need to put in here. See, the output is indented. Indented method is XML. And coding is EF. Variable name is line field. And I'm asking to select the data between the apostrophe and the template matches worker sync. And let's say I need a file separator for each record. What I've done is I've created my file separator. This is my Excel header. XTC separator is going to be semicolon. Then all my headings that I'm using. Same for ID, business title, manager's name, cost center, and DON. And then for every value for staffing event, I'm saying I have a choose. Then when staffing event is blank, then give me this value which is right here in my XML. Say staff. For this to be an expert on or to be able to work with XML and XSLT. One needs to know or should have good knowledge of X, M, and XSLT. Or at least XML as to how to read and write XML codes. Say stuffing, stuffing. Where is our stuffing event? For the status. In one of the files, I think it was earlier. I'll check it out. This is number 14. Gender, mailing address, position, status. Mission ID status. Well, let's take a look at another one. In this, it's taking for employee ID tag XML begin, XML and tag and value of select. US summary / DOS employee ID. Under worker summary and then employee ID. Bring that data out as an output file. But in some cases, we have added some configuration or logics. For address, line 1 says select personal address. Let's go to personal position. We don't have the personal one here. Position. Let's say this is a business side address. It would be say worker. Position. And under position, it would say business side address line data. And if the type address type, we have a logic here on the address type. Here we don't have the address type, but say it's business site or site name is Atlanta. The rate for state was set. It was AT&T. If it does match, then continue forward and get me the data from address line 1. You can create logics based on your requirements within your XLT. And what is your output going to be? Is it going to be CSV? Is it going to be again? Do you want it in JSON format? Whatever formatting and changes and configurations that you would like to do, the manipulation of data. And if you want to put conditions and logic. For example, here it says compensation operation. Check for add or modify. If either of the two is there, one of the condition is met. Bring in the compensation stash, effective date. And then you have your when condition. Otherwise, choose a none. You can put all these kind of conditions within your XSLT. To create an output in a manipulated format the way you would like to set it up for. And XLT has a large variety. You can put your document format type. You can put your headers. You can put logics in there. You can set up. You can set up transformations. You can do calculations. You can do lookup values. You can do if, then else, or choose otherwise. And many conditions that are available in your XSLT. It's just like coding. But in order to understand this coding or language or manipulate it, you must understand XML because this is an XSLT language to write and modify and understand this code. Though it's fairly simple, but it needs some experience, working experience, and knowledge of coding, or at least some development experience to understand XML and XSLT. Document transformation. Integration using document transformation are built in the tenant. Using the integration business process, you can retrieve and deliver documents. Initially, you can string multiple integration systems together. As you were asking, can we retrieve a document? Yes, we can retrieve a document, either from Workday itself or we can retrieve the document from an external source using our business process. This is a way to eliminate the limitation of Earbeer to only have one data source, one transformation, and one delivery endpoint without having to use Studio. You do not need to be familiar with XML technologies like SSLT, XPath, etc. You do need to be familiar with XML technologies like XCL, XPath, etc. And if you're processing large sets of data using multiple web services, calls need complex logging and error processing. You may still want to consider using Studio as well, which we will look at it at a later stage. Let's look at an integration system that already has. Let's look at this document transformation. If it has it been used? Integration System File Attachment Services. None of the document has been attached here. Let's look at an XSLT that is available in the system. Say gender. Let's download this. And here you can see it's a very simple XSLT. It says your separator is colon. For each row, include employee ID. Do as semi employee ID, employee name, eligibility, gender. And here it's not doing any transformation here. It's just pulling the data and putting it by each row. Let's go back. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this event. This was the output file in CSV format. Let's open this up. Data from text. Eliminate and the divider is piped. This is what this transformation has done. In full name, it's bringing a name, employee ID, gender, business title, employee ID in a CSV format. Let's look at the integration that it was part of. Let's look at the parent integration. Integration system was wheat. And the integration system, the document transformation he's using. This is your integration system. And this is the document transformation that is associated with it. If we look at it, it has document transformation. This is the DEET and this is the DEET as well. Integration system. Integration event. Integration system. This is the integration based on core connector worker. Again, similar services that are enabled. Position status, personal ID field overrides for custom fields, custom integration services. Then, if you look at the business process definition, it would be a little different than just simple delivery to X, M. It would have a separate step for integration where, after the integration is fired, you have an integration service, which is calling your document transformation integration, which is right here, which we open right here. Your document transformation, you use integration template for document transformation. These services are enabled by default. Remember the XML tag I was talking about or document tag that you were talking about? Input document, output document. Your output document tag here in our integration. Your document tag cc_caf_cc triple tag could also be linked here as well as your input document tag. And it has an attachment for XLT, which was written by this person. And you can see VJ transformation CSV XML. And we opened it and saw that this is the document, or this is the this is the XL that he's using to do the document transformation. File record separator is 5. Column name employee ID, gender, business title and manager employee ID. And these are your titles or column names right on the top. And then you have, that's your file separator. Then XSLT for each record. The separator is 5. And then you're getting the name, the employee ID, the gender, the business title, and the manager employee ID. And of course, then you have your XML tags reporting. Let's go ahead and run this integration. Let's say launch. As of today and last, successful, let's say. That's fine. And then run and change file. If I look at the integration event, all parameters are right here. It's not a full file. The integration event has completed. It outputted an XML file. Oops. Now, if I look at the parent event, this should be completed by now as well. But then I would have a different output file. In addition to output XM, I have this Vijayachan Clean 3 Safa. And because we added the integration document transformation event, it outputted the file. And then it ran the integration event, the CCUDT. And then it did the transformation based on our XML and gave us the output file of CSV. And if I open this file, see the data in CSV. See if I import it again from text. Same file that we just downloaded. Let's find the separator. Delimit it. In your worksheet. In the same workbook, in the new sheet, I would have my data separated by pipe and then formatted like this. And this is what your XSLT can do at the least. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@upptalk.com.